Welcome back to your live continuing coverage of NAB 2017 live from Las Vegas, Nevada at the Las Vegas Convention Center in the Vitek Video Group booth. On the Teradek set, this is your live continuing Teradek coverage of NAB 2017. I'm Michael Artsis. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a special treat for you right now. I'm excited about this. We've got a YouTube star joining us, and I don't even know why I would say YouTube star at this point, because anybody who's a YouTube star is just a star in general. But this gentleman is very, very interesting because he has created some amazing videos. He's an unbelievable cinematographer. And he's a brand ambassador for Manfrotto, one of the Vitek Video Group brands. Devin is joining us from Devin Super Tramp. That's the channel on YouTube. You
Correct.
can check it out. Go to youtube.com/Devin Super Tramp. Devin, I love your videos. We're going to show the people some of your videos in a few minutes, and we'll talk over them, continue our conversation. But you do all sorts of viral videos, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about your filmmaking. We're going to talk about everything. How did you get into filmmaking, though?
So I've been making movies ever since I was a baby, no joke, like in diapers, like making videos with Legos, making music videos with my siblings. Like I've always had a passion for it, and I've always stuck with it. So I mean, I did the whole thing with going to film school and everything else.
When you were in diapers, what kind of camera did you use?
Very high-end, Alexa. No, back then I was using my parents' cameras, and they were filming with me, and they'd give me opportunities to work with the camera. So it's always been a part of my life. My parents are not filmmakers, but they gave me opportunities with little kind of old beat-up cameras to kind of work with that and kind of learn that craft.
And you immediately took to it.
I immediately loved it, and I mean I got big into photography, so I mean that's why I think I have a big focus when I do movies, that cinematography is a big part of it.
When did you first get into doing this stuff and putting it online, especially on YouTube?
Yeah, so I think 2010 is when I kind of decided I'm going to go for it. I was going to film school at BYU in Utah, and someone was like, YouTube's going to be the next big thing, and I was like, filmmakers shouldn't go on YouTube because that's kind of like lowering your quality, but he was like, if you want to get out there, you got to embrace this YouTube thing. So I got into it not thinking it was going to be a big thing, but it ended up becoming much bigger than I could have ever imagined.
And I imagine you're a YouTube partner at this point.
Yep.
You have 5 million subscribers?
Almost 5 million on our main channel. Then we have a behind the scenes channel called Devin Graham, where we upload our behind the scenes videos, and that has 1 million followers as well.
I love it. Very, very unbelievable. I mean, 5 million subscribers is tremendous. That's really hard to get. You get a plaque for that or something, right? They
1 million, then 10 million.
Okay.
So we're on our way. We're halfway there to the 10 million.
Now, people always say, I want to make a viral video. Is there an art to that?
There is definitely an art to it. A big thing is just knowing what's going to be trendy and what's going to be popular, and then basing it around kind of what's coming out soon. So I mean, we do a lot of stuff based on video games, like video games in real life, a lot of parkour videos, and we'll base it around a big video game release because that increases the chances of it getting shared. Now, all the videos we do, they don't always go viral, and sometimes we think they will go viral, but it definitely increases your chances the more you create.
So I imagine you make these videos mostly for brands as advertising, and I mean, how do you, so that's the thing, you don't even know what's going to be a viral video. You have an idea and kind of a guideline, but how do you sell that to a client when you can't, in fact, confirm that it's going to go viral? Yeah,
so the one thing we can confirm is we have almost a 5 million audience as far as on YouTube goes, so they know it's instantly going to go out to that many people. So when we work with big brands, they're working with us because we have a big audience that they know it's going to go out to at least X amount of people.
Okay, so what's the return on 5 million on a video that doesn't go viral?
Video that doesn't go viral, like worst case scenario, this is like usually ones that we fund ourselves, so that's about 300,000 views for YouTube, but also Facebook's a massive platform as well. So we use all these platforms, but generally speaking, if we put up any video and it kind of doesn't perform very well, it's going to get at least 500,000 views.
So that's not bad. I mean, probably 5 years ago or maybe 3 years ago, that would have been considered a viral video by many companies anyway. If they got 300,000 to 500,000 views, they'd be very happy. Certainly, that dwarfs a lot of local television audiences and certainly even some late night programming. So it's pretty good. And obviously 5 million is pretty remarkable. You have one video that I watched before that has 30 million views on it, which is unbelievable. We're going to get into the content in a second, but I notice, and I think maybe people can take a page out of your book, is that you're always doing some kind of social media something. So you're probably always tweeting, but you come on here, we're sitting down, and as we're putting a microphone on you and all this stuff, you're doing an Instagram video saying hi. You're keeping in touch with your audience on every platform, which helps grow your audience. Is that the advice you would give to somebody wanting to go into social media marketing or into creating viral videos?
Yeah, I think it's super important that you're constantly creating, no matter, even if it's not exciting things, if it's just mundane things, you have to get yourself out there.
Even if you think like, who wants to see me eat, you should still do it. Look, we're doing this now. Is that the way?
Not for me. For some people, that's, I feel, how they feel. I'm not one of those kind of vloggers. I have nothing against vlogging, but some people that they kind of vlog every little detail. I try and focus more on the filmmaking aspect of it because our audience is very focused on filmmaking.
You're doing it when you have something, like right here, you just did something, and you're doing it when you feel you have something. Okay, here's a little clip. It might not have been the most interesting, but I'm showing you a little behind the scenes, saying hi, and you're keeping in touch with the audience and letting them know what you're doing, which might drive more people to watch this too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so big part of it. And the other big thing is content. Like, you might have the most expensive equipment, but if you don't have amazing content that grabs people, it's not going to make a difference.
So you prove content is always king, and we're going to get to that in a second. I really do want to talk about that. But I want to ask you, does it ever get tiring? Like, you sit down here, you got to think, okay, instead of focusing on this interview or what you're going to say or how it's going to be or do you look all right, you got to now shoot an Instagram video, and then maybe you got to fire off a tweet, and then you got to call 2 people and say, hey, we're going to be on Facebook, can you put that up?
No, it really is a 24/7-hour job. Like, we have our team in Utah where we're based out of, and I have them where I'm saying, okay, make sure to Twitter this, make sure to post this on Facebook. So it's not just me doing it solo, because it is like a full-time plus
Team
job.
Super Tramp.
Exactly.
How'd you come up with the name?
So my name's Devin, and our whole channel is called Devin Super Tramp. And my favorite book is called Into the Wild. It's about a true story about a guy that when he decides to go out to live his dreams, he calls himself Alexander Super Tramp. So when I decided to go out there, live my dreams of making movies, Devin Super Tramp, giving homage to that whole idea of going out there and living your dreams.
Very nice. I think we've got this bike parkour video, which blew my mind because I know about parkour. I've never seen bike parkour. I'd like to know, let's take a look at it. We'll talk over it. How did you find out about bike parkour?
Yeah, so we're always looking at what's trendy and what's popular on the internet. And one video I saw on Facebook that had several million views, it was with a guy named Tim Knoll who does this really unique stuff on a bike. And I was like, we would love to work with him. And then at the same time, another car company, Ford, they reached out to us and said, hey, we'd love to do a video with you. We'd love to sponsor it. So we're like, what would you like to do? And we're like, we'd love to work with this athlete. We could get your cars in some of the shots, and then we could get a really cool video out of it. So that's how this video came about. But we worked with Tim Knoll, who's a phenomenal bicyclist. That's who you see right now.
Over 30 million views, and here's the most amazing part. So far, I would have no idea that this is somehow an ad for Ford. I'm a car guy, and I totally missed that because I was completely focused on everything else. But yet, this is a good way to create a really great video and get brand sponsorship and a brand around it. What are you shooting this on?
So this one was shot on a 1DC, Canon 1DC.
Sure. Beautiful
with the
camera.
Cam. Yeah,
Motion JPEG?
Yep, and then right now we shoot everything with the red weapon camera to get all the smooth shots. But I mean, we actually did a sequel to this recently, because this video got 30 million on YouTube and then got another 60 million on Facebook. So we just did a follow-up a couple months ago. We shot that in Spain, and that one has almost 5 million on YouTube, and it already got 30 million on Facebook.
Unreal. It reminds me of the Gymkhana videos that Ken Block puts out, which is also for Ford. Have you ever done anything like that?
No, I haven't worked with those guys, but they are absolutely incredible.
They are incredible, both the cinematographers and Ken as a driver. This is remarkable, though. And so you talk about now you were using a 1DC, now you're using a red weapon. How important is the gear? And we're going to talk about, obviously, there's some gear that's very important. But as far as, how you study the image and, using tripods and all that stuff and heads, but how important is the actual camera at this point when you have so many great cameras with so many great sensors, and you're really doing this, I imagine, run and gun pretty much.
Yeah, no, I mean, the equipment is super...
There's a Ford shot, by
I know,
the way.
right? There you have it. And actually, I mean, Ford came to us and they said this was one of the most successful campaigns they've ever done. So we ended up doing 4 big videos like this with Ford, all different kind of content, base jumping and several different other stunts.
Give me an idea. What would somebody like Ford pay for something like this? And you don't have to tell me an exact number, but is this a 6-figure shoot or a 7-figure shoot?
No, they definitely take care of the athletes and everyone involved with it all. And then they do a lot of marketing to push it as well. So that's kind of without telling numbers or this or that. But I mean, the truth is too, is we love making movies. And when I started, we had no money. So anything we make on any of these bigger projects, we put it right back into our YouTube channel and right back into more equipment. So that's why we started with like a Canon in 5D and a Canon Rebel, and since then we have 2 red weapons and on like a Phantom Miro slow motion camera. And I mean, everything we get is just to tell a bigger story and focus on that.
Are you making a living doing this at this point?
Yeah, this is all I do, and we have
a real living. You got a lot of people working for you.
We have 5 other employees,
Yep.
which is like for me the perfect balance. We could have more, but I don't want to manage people. I want to manage projects. So it's like the perfect fit for what we do.
And is everybody making a good living and they're full time?
Yeah, everyone's full time,
And they're happy.
They're all happy.
They're fed.
We don't drive Lamborghinis or Ferraris or
Not
anything
yet.
like that. I have no desire. I've always driven a Subaru
Yeah.
car, so we just did a big campaign with Subaru.
You're not supposed to say that in front of
Well,
Ford.
Ford was like 3 years ago. Subaru was always the
I
goal.
like Subaru, by the way.
Subaru was always the goal, but I had to kind of take the baby step first to go to the bigger one.
There you go. And have you done rally racing? Anything with rally racing?
No,
or?
I mean, anything we do, it's about picking really unique things. So I don't know what I bring new to the rally race scene, but it's like, what can I do that makes this unique that will make it people want to share it?
So, like I said, rally racing. Do you go, okay, what could I do viral with that? Or you go, it's not really in pop culture. You look at something that's viral.
No, we usually will take on everyday things and make them extraordinary. So a good example is one of our most watched videos is a rope swing through an arch and a rope swing through a canyon. And it was like everyone has done a rope swing, a very small rope swing like on a tree.
Sure.
So everyone can connect with that. Let's supersize it so adults and kids will absolutely love it and then they'll share it. So we usually try and throw a little twist on it or a big twist on it, and that helps it get out there.
So if somebody wanted to work with you, how much would they have to spend? And I mean, like, would they say, okay, we're going to do, do they have to say we're going to do $1 million budget, or can you do a $100,000 budget, or can we start at a $50,000 budget? Like, any company wants to work with you, how much do they have to bring to come to the table? Because I imagine you're really busy with Subaru and other big brands, but maybe somebody here wants to work with you, or somebody who's watching.
It just, and it's probably the answer people want, but it just depends on what it is. 'Cause a lot of videos we do, we normally don't talk about this. We do for free just because the idea is so big. Like some of our first videos, the flyboarding video, the hoverboarding video, they're like brand new state-of-the-art projects.
Right.
We did those for free because we knew they would be successful online, and then they end up getting 20 or 30 million views, and then that gives us bigger opportunities to work with bigger brands. So,
Right.
I mean, we're very selective with who we work with, and we do a video once a week. So, I mean, we have to be, because we're always pumping out stuff, and we're always turning around things really fast.
Is that important, that you have to give the audience something regularly, whether it's once a week, twice a week, once a month, whatever it is, you have to have a schedule?
You have to. The saying is a consistent audience, or consistent content is a consistent audience. So we have to be doing things regularly. We took like a 2-month break from YouTube as far as to focus on higher quality content, but then you can see all the numbers drop significantly.
We've got another video to look at, and I'm excited about this one as well. We'll talk over this one. You can tell us a little bit about this. And I think that this one also did pretty well. As
I want to say it's at 48 million views plus on YouTube alone. And one of my favorite video games is called Assassin's Creed.
Sure.
So I did a fan film of it, and it ended up getting 68 million views on YouTube. So then the company, Ubisoft, who makes Assassin's Creed, they ended up contacting me, and they were like, we'd love for you to do more promo videos like you did. So every year since the first one, they hire me to go around the world filming these parkour videos. And they actually hired us to promote the movie, the new Assassin's Creed movie that came out last year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so we had Michael Fassbender. He had a cameo in our video as well, the actor. So it just gives us a lot of big opportunities from doing these videos on social media and on YouTube.
Now, what was this shot on? This looks like it was not shot on a red.
Yeah, this was on a red.
It was on a
red weapon.
Wow.
We have to downsize everything for YouTube, so the compression, so you don't see the full quality of it all. But yeah, this was all shot with the red weapon.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So where'd you shoot this?
This was shot in Paris.
Okay, and how long did it take you to shoot this?
This was a week of work. Because we're working with parkour athletes, it takes a lot on their bodies because they're jumping and rolling. So we kind of, I mean, we're filming constantly, but we don't hit it insanely hard because their bodies can't keep up with it.
Now, what do you do to make sure that they're safe and to make sure you get the shots? I mean, I imagine you're not getting permits for this stuff.
Yeah, so you can't get permits for this unless you're talking insane numbers, which we're not dealing with. So for something like this, we actually put on social media, on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, we're looking for the best parkour athletes in Europe. And a group called French Free Run Family, they contacted us, and then we looked at their stuff, and I mean, they win like the biggest competitions within parkour. So we hired them to do this, and they're based in Paris as well.
I mean, but how do you get insurance for this? You got no permits.
Yeah, so we have a $5 million insurance policy that we spend enough on.
Yep.
So we make sure everyone is taken care of if something happens. And
do you have a medic on the shoot? Or
it depends on the shoot and the budget.
Like, this is pretty.
Yeah, for something like this, we actually didn't have a medic. Everything we were doing in this video, even if it may look a little bit sketchy, was 100% safe, and we make sure they have 100% confidence in what we're doing.
Very nice. Now, you go to VidCon every year. That's the big convention where YouTubers go to be found and to talk to each other. It's like the NAB of YouTube. Do you go to E3?
I didn't go last year, but that's another big one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We covered E3 at Be Terrific, my company, and it was a lot of fun. It was pretty amazing. And then I would imagine that you do a lot of like Comic-Cons and stuff like that too as well?
Yeah, we've done Comic-Con. We actually did a big video in Comic-Con, another Assassin's Creed one out there, and that one did really well as well. But yeah, we're definitely involved with all that stuff. I mean, that's the thing, is I'd rather be creating videos, but going to all these events, that's where you're networking, making those connections, so it's like super important.
Do you find that hard? I mean, you're a filmmaker, you want to be a filmmaker, you've got a staff of 5, but you also, I think at this point, probably have to be the sales guy and the front face, and you got to meet and network. Do you find that hard, and do you sometimes want to bring somebody else on to do that, yet it's hard because they want you?
Yeah, ideally it wouldn't be me, it'd be someone on our team, but the truth is, like, I've kind of been the face of it since the start of it, so people expect that. And in social media, it's all about actually interacting with the actual people, so I have to be there to make those actual connections. I mean, we have other people on our team. Carter's a good example, who's our like main producer, so essentially I'll kind of get the job started, and then I hand it over to Carter, and then he takes over.
Very nice. Sounds like a good plan. It seems like it's working as well. Do we have another video, guys? I think we might have one more video we can play as well. I'm very impressed by this, and I wanted to ask, what do you do to stabilize the camera? Because you have all those shots seem very stable. I imagine you can't really use tripods all that much, but you're using some kind of great stabilizers, and I would imagine great heads as well. Yeah,
so I use a glide cam, an HD. They have 2000, 4000, and then I have a Devin Graham Signature Series glide cam. Because they started selling so many because of our YouTube channel, we came up with our own one that we work together with. So we use a glide cam for all of our kind of moving and running shots, and then we use a Manfrotto tripod for everything else, as far as whenever you see long lenses and stuff like that. That's what we're using to get the shots that way.
And you love the Manfrotto gear.
Absolutely. They just actually came out with the Nitrotech fluid head that I'm like super stoked on. It makes it so you can counterbalance it and get perfect movement. So for me, I mean, those are the two things. I mean, there's 3 things that I bring on every shoot. It's our camera, a tripod, Manfrotto tripod, and then the glide cam. That's what we're using for all of our videos.
And it seems like you're probably using the Manfrotto head also on the glide cam or on some other things when you're doing other shoots.
Yeah, we use the 509 fluid head, 504 fluid head, and then the brand new one that just came out like a couple days ago, the Nitrotech one, is like the new one we're going to be using as well.
Very cool. We've got another video to look at. How about that?
Bring it on.
All right. This is Devin Super Tramp on YouTube, youtube.com/Devin Super Tramp. That is the Grand Canyon?
No, this is in Moab, Utah. We're based in Utah. Okay. And this was actually one of our first viral videos.
How many views?
This one, I want to say it's at 27 million views.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good start. And it's just me and my friends. They're all avid rock climbers and crazy stunt guys. So we did this video. It took 2 days to film. One day was cloudy. I didn't like the clouds, so we came back another day and we filmed it during the sun. And then we ended up doing a sequel to it. And then Jimmy Kimmel and a bunch of other people, as far as like on the news, they ended up picking up it as well. But no one had, up until this point, seen anything like this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's a GoPro?
Yeah, that's a GoPro 2, and at that time they didn't have poles for stuff like that, so we're using a golf club, just duct taping it. And then everything else on this was shot on, and this is in my early days, so I didn't have a bunch of equipment, so this was shot on a Canon 5D Mark II and an iPhone 3 or 4 back then.
This is why I say it's not, you have to have the right tools, but most of the tools are so good today, you can really shoot with anything. It's really about the story and about the content. You talk about the content being so important.
Yep.
And you have to just come up with these creative ideas. How do you do that?
Yeah, so originally it was just finding out what crazy things people were doing in the community. Our first like big video was a bike jump into a pond. We did that, and then after that blew up on the internet, people that did other weird, crazy stuff, they started reaching out to me. This is a good example, is my friends that did this, they were like, hey Devin, I saw this video you did, we do this, it's kind of in line with what you do. So they brought this idea to the table to me, and that's kind of how a lot of the stuff we do now is people, they bring like, hey, we do this in France, or we do this in the Netherlands, and we go and we travel to these places and do videos based on that content.
And I mean, you've probably learned a lot about filmmaking, but you could start out with a 5D or something like that and learn as you're doing it and get better each time, but you really need the creative ideas.
Yeah, the ideas are crucial, and then just constantly shooting, because each time we do one of these shoots, I learn, okay, I don't do good with this, and I learn how to improve that. So the more you shoot, the more you're learning.
And when you started, you probably didn't color correct, and you probably built, right?
Yeah, everything has been built. I mean, even when we did this video, I didn't know anything about color correcting, so I did it all in camera with Canon's presettings.
Right.
So there was no color correction of any sort.
And what about today? What are you editing on?
Yeah, we do everything on Adobe Premiere, the Creative Cloud. So that's what we're using to edit all of our stuff. We're shooting it all in 6K, so we're editing. We have the Mac Towers.
Sure.
They're kind of getting a little bit outdated now, so hopefully come out with a new one.
About a year. You have to wait about a year. That's what Tim Cook said a couple weeks ago.
Rumor on the street.
Yeah.
And then we use MacBook Pros, the laptops, when we're traveling out on the road. So like even at NAB last night, I was out here editing like till 2 in the morning, just getting the projects done
and
that we have to.
You're still cutting.
Always cutting.
And how often are you refreshing gear? You have to refresh the computers every year, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, so I mean, we've had the trash cans, the Mac trash cans, since they came out. So I mean, we're looking at 3 or 4 years. Camera gear, like the Red camera, is always kind of changing and adjusting. So that's a little bit more once a year, once every other year. And then Manfrotto, and as far as the Glide Cam, I'd say every other year, roughly, kind of the new product comes out that I'm kind of upgrading in.
How often are you cutting, like, so from that shoot to the edit to delivery, how long is it taking?
So a good example is we just did one of the most dangerous, biggest stunts we've ever done. I can't talk about it here because it's all top secret. We did that last week.
Can you tell me who it's for?
Subaru.
Okay, I was going to guess that if you didn't give me the answer and see if I could make it turn bright red.
Yeah. So we did that with Subaru, and then that one's coming out next week.
You
but they have to have
you flipped a car?
We didn't flip a car. It wasn't with the car that the stunt was done.
Have you ever thought, so like Subaru comes to you, have you ever, you love Subaru, have you ever thought of doing, like, obviously, as I said before, the Gymkhana series, they use the car, right? Have you ever thought about doing something with a car or with the product? Yeah,
we've thought about it, but the truth is even when we do something where the product isn't like the main focus, it does extremely well for the brand.
Right, but I mean, have you ever thought like, okay, here's Subaru, and you know what, it would be cool to flip a car, and we think we can do it, and that would go viral. I know you came to us for a video, but I don't know, I've had this idea, let's use the product. Have you ever thought of that?
I guess I don't think I've had any crazy idea with a car, so I haven't pitched it.
What would you do with a car? Forget whose car it is. What would you do with a car?
I think the coolest thing I've ever seen done with a car was on Furious 7 when they have it shoot out of the back of the airplane. They're all kind of falling and rolling.
Cool, yeah.
Like it'd have to be something on that scale as far as like,
I'd love
holy
to
cow.
see a chase scene in Manhattan. Like almost like a Gymkhana in Manhattan. I got it mapped out. If you ever want an idea,
I know who to contact. No, I love that idea.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
I mean, could you imagine? I'll give you one idea I have. Could you imagine Ken Block going down Park Avenue? You know Manhattan a little bit. Okay, going down Park Avenue in the 20s or 30s, where there's goes 2 lanes this way, 2 lanes that way, and it's got the median, and him taking the car and spinning around. You know how he does that spin around the cones around Park Avenue.
That would look
going
incredible.
From this direction that way, spinning the car and drifting it and going this way.
I love it.
Wouldn't that be unbelievable?
Let's do it.
I'm down.
Tomorrow.
No permits, right?
No permits. Yeah, that would be a little bit more of an expensive idea for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially if you hit a cab.
Yep. Not ideal at all.
No, but I think it would be a great video. It certainly would be viral. There's no question about that. I'd love to see you do something with a car. So what is before this video that you've shot that's the most dangerous? Now, did you get insurance on that and permits?
Yeah, I mean, we have insurance, permits. Like,
what does Subaru say when they come to you and they go, do you use permits? Nah, don't worry about the permits.
Yeah, no, any big company, they want permits. They want all the logistics done. And I mean, with Subaru, we actually gave them like 10 different ideas. And we're like, these are ones we'd love to do. And then they picked them. And we actually didn't think they picked this one because it was too far out there, because we've been pitching that for 2 years. Sure. So we were stoked. But we go through all the film permits. We shot it in Moab, Utah, which was where that rope swing video was shot.
It's funny you say that. I could see that, these meetings. I sat in a meeting once with Major League Baseball, and they wanted us to do some viral videos. And it was the beginning of viral videos. And I said, we should they wanted to do it during spring training, and it had to be baseball related. You know what a hot foot is?
I don't.
It's when they take a pack of matches, they wrap it around a cigarette, and they take some bubble gum and they stick it to a guy's cleat. They climb under the bench, right? So that he doesn't know, and they light it on fire, and all of a sudden he's freaking out. He doesn't know why his foot's on fire, right? But it's a quick thing because of the match. So they light the cigarette, and when it gets to the match, it could be 20 minutes later. All of a sudden, so it's a guy who's not playing in the game that day or something, right?
So intense.
So I said, Joe Buck. they wanted to do something viral with Joe Buck, and I said, let's get somebody to give Joe Buck a hot foot while he's doing an interview live on camera. And they were like, no, what if we ruin his shoes? I'm like, buy him a new pair of shoes. They're like, his shoes could be $800. I'm like, so what? They're like, what if Joe Buck gets injured? I'm like, it's been done 1,000 times. Nobody gets injured doing this. It's okay.
Totally worth it?
Yeah.
So what happened?
No, everybody loved it until you got to the lawyers and the corporate, and they were like, oh, that's a great idea, but, it's Joe Buck. What if he gets mad and then he never wants to work with Major League Baseball? I'm like, you cut him a pretty fat check. I think it's okay.
Yeah, that's usually what happens is most brands are scared of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what's the craziest thing you've actually done up until this point, or the most dangerous?
I'd have to think about that one.
Yeah.
Nothing comes to my mind.
Really? That rope thing was pretty nuts.
Yeah,
the parkour thing to me is nuts.
Yeah.
I know you say
okay,
it's safe,
I know one. We did one in Panama. It was the world's longest urban zip line, where we had people go from the tallest building down, and then as they're zip lining, they let go, and they would free fall 700 feet to base jump.
Wow.
And that we had to close down the entire freeway in Panama. It was like a massive production. That one Speed Stick sponsored, because you're sweaty when you're doing this stuff, right? And then they land like on a big Speed Stick target. But that was kind of one where every time they jumped, my heart would stop for a second until that parachute opened.
Sure, I could imagine. What's your best advice for people who want to start creating viral videos to get started?
I would say you have to be doing it daily, consistently, make a lot of mistakes, and make sure you're doing stuff you're excited about. Because if you're not passionate about it, people will see that, and it will read through, and it won't connect with people.
Do you ever, I notice you don't really appear on camera, and you don't really describe what's going on. You just let it happen. Do you ever kind of set it up?
Yeah, so we have a behind the scenes channel which we show, and I haven't showed you that yet, but we show the whole making and creating of that process. So I mean, that's kind of where we kind of show, and that's my face. But I don't like being on front of camera, like that's not my thing. I like creating, being behind the camera.
I'm glad we talked you into coming on here.
I know, right? It wasn't easy.
So what do you do for people, what do you tell people who want to get started on the marketing part of it, right? So now I've got the videos, I've got them on YouTube, I shot them with a 5D or something inexpensive, I figured out how to edit, I made some mistakes. What do you tell them on how to get, how do I get people to notice? I mean, the whole tree falling in the woods thing, we just talked about that New York City thing.
Yep.
If I shot that, or somebody out there shot that, maybe it would go viral, maybe it wouldn't. How do I help that process?
Yeah, to help that process, it's contacting and reaching out to media sites. As far as like news sites, like you can go online and just look through different websites. And if you, for example, if you have a big video game thing, focus on the big video game websites. Don't start contacting like other random ones. Make sure it's focused on what that content is, and make sure it's something that there's a high chance they pick up, because if you don't have credibility with it and you start pitching every week, they're going to get sick of you and then they're going to block you. So you have to be very mindful of that.
So like if you did something that was kind of tech related, you might go to Engadget or Gizmodo with
exactly.
it and say, hey guys, and they'll put it up, even if it really is, if you're, let's say you were destroying, I don't know, the newest MacBook, they would put that up even though they're not writing a story about that.
Yeah, because exactly, because they're all looking for awesome content.
Right.
I mean, we've done stuff with Gizmodo where we've sent them like really cool tech, like a flying water jetpack. We sent it to them because they're looking for that stuff.
Oh yeah, I've seen that on you. That's you?
Yeah, that's me. So I mean, we do that, and then we get another 300,000 views or 80,000 views because it goes on their website. So marketing, I mean, you can create amazing content, but if you don't know how to market it, it means nothing.
Do you like lay in bed at night and come up with ideas and say, I want to execute these without even having a brand attached to them?
Yeah, I mean, most of our ideas, there's no brand attached to it.
Right.
And then once the brand gets attached to it, then we figure out how to integrate it with it.
Very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. What is the thing that you've always wanted to do but haven't been able to do?
I can't tell you.
Well, you could.
I could. So the thing is ideas are so valuable, and especially big ideas. So we're very secretive with our big ideas because so that's what it comes down to.
I get it. What's the one that you didn't think you'd ever sell, but they bought it? Is it the Subaru thing?
Yeah, it's the Subaru one. Just because it was so extreme and so dangerous. We've been pitching it for 2 or 3 years now, and no one's even closely bid at it. So this was like the first one. We're like, oh yeah, do that one.
Have you shot it yet?
Yeah, we just got done shooting it 2 days ago. Awesome. That's the one that comes out next week on our YouTube channel. Next week? Next week.
Oh, I'm going to be watching.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
That's pretty cool. Next week. I love it. So you said everybody should update daily, but you're doing it weekly at daily in the beginning, and then
no, when I say daily, it's more of just posting about what you're working on or what you're doing or sharing your life with people.
Great. That's pretty amazing. You've done such a remarkable job. 5 million subscribers is almost the most remarkable thing. I mean, a video to have 40 million views is remarkable, but to have the subscriber base that you have, and then it grows to Facebook, and I know you do a lot on Instagram and all the social media platforms. Is there one you like the most?
YouTube's my favorite,
Yeah.
but YouTube's the meanest because the comments.
It is.
Anyone will say this, but the
It's
comments
very
are
true.
so like brutal. Instagram is the one where I feel the most peace at because people are like nice and kind.
Yeah.
And Facebook's like the easiest way now to get stuff out there as far as our content.
And have you thought about doing live stuff?
Yeah, so we do Facebook Live stuff, I'd say once or twice a week now, because that's
Yeah.
kind of like the new thing that kind of Facebook's pushing.
And do you do it simply with like one phone or one camera, or do you do it like a multi-camera live?
No, we
sit
just,
down
I mean, we're pretty simple with what we're doing, and just a simple iPhone or a Samsung phone that we're using.
Great. Well, it is Devin Supertramp on YouTube, youtube.com/Devin Supertramp. He's Devin, I'm Michael. Thank you so much for watching. We have a whole lot more content to come to you live from NAB 2017 right after this. Stay with us.